Hey there everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Puborama, and in today's video we are going to be going over the top 5 most aggressive offensive vehicles in Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. Vehicles that are meant to destroy anything in front of you, whether you're doing a mission, destroying griefers, or players that you don't just like in general. Today's video should serve a guide to everything you need to know. Let's get straight into it. I am going to add that in this list we are talking about personal vehicles, not aircraft or any sort of helicopter. These are vehicles that you can store in your garage. In 5th place, we actually have 2 vehicles just because they are so darn similar, that being the Weaponized Tampa and the Vapid Speedo Custom. Now these vehicles are pretty dang similar on their weaponized capabilities, but pretty different from the goals you're intending on. One big downside, as you'll notice, for the Weaponized Tampa is that its windows are not bulletproof at all. They have 0 protection. The Vapid Speedo Custom actually has a lot of protection on the frontal glass. Not only do all the metal bars covering the windows count as actual metal bars, but as well the glass itself is semi-bullet resistant, meaning that you're going to have to shoot at the glass quite a bit before you actually break through it. With the bulletproof protection aside, let's actually take a look at what weapons this vehicle carries. First of all, it has rear-mounted mortars. Now, the rear-mounted mortars are pretty cool in theory, but they're pretty useless. I don't think I've ever connected a hit with them, especially when you can just place proximity mines. I think they're kind of useless. Now, you do get a controllable dual minigun, and while the dual minigun is really cool, I do want to point out that it does the same damage as every other minigun in the game, so it doesn't do double the damage because there are 2 of them. But even with that aside, it still does insane damage. As you can see, basically anything in front of you is going to get absolutely annihilated. As well, it has insane range. Look at how far I'm shooting that gauntlet all the way in the back, and boom, blows up. So the range on these miniguns are great, and this is the biggest advantage over the Speedo Custom, is that you get missiles. Now, they are not homing missiles, so that's a bit unfortunate. If they were homing missiles, this vehicle would be an instant 10 out of 10, and I would have put it higher on the list, but because they're not homing, it is a big disadvantage, and that means you actually can only hit ground troops, and they also have a pretty high possibility of just blowing you up, because I should point out that both of these vehicles have 0 missile protection, so that's a pretty big downside. I would say the biggest reason why I actually think the Vapid Speedo Custom is a better vehicle is down to the fact that you don't need to unlock bunker research. That is one of the biggest pains when it comes to the Weaponized Tampa. If you have bunker research unlocked, I would say overall, the Weaponized Tampa is a better vehicle because not only is it faster, but it's just a more enjoyable vehicle to drive. The Speedo Custom's plow does not work on the front, which kind of sucks. But overall, judging that you still get proximity mines with the Speedo Custom and you get the same minigun, plus that bulletproof protection, I do think that in most cases, you're going to get the same offensive capabilities out of this car as you are for the Weaponized Tampa. And judging that this is cheaper and you don't need bunker research, I do think it is a bit better of a buy, but obviously that's down to your personal preferences. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Either way, both of these vehicles are incredibly devastating to anything on the ground, and yeah, they can absolutely tear up anything. In the number 4 slot, we have the APC. Now, I actually chose this over the Khanjali tank, and the reason why is actually a couple. First of all, it's faster, which is great. It means that you're getting from point A to point B a little bit sooner. But as well, both of the Khanjali and APC could survive the exact same amount of explosions at 8 homing missiles and 8 RPGs. When you add that in, plus the fact that the APC can actually drive in water, also the fact that you can actually use a tank cannon on this vehicle, or you can use the missile barrage, I actually think both weapons are really strong. I know that a lot of people say don't use the missile barrage because it runs out of missiles, but I mean, what are you going to shoot 50 missiles at? You can just despawn it and spawn it back in. It takes like 10 seconds and then get all of your missiles back as it is. So I don't really care which one you run on the weaponized part of it. Both are great options, and overall, I just think the APC is a bit more effective than the tank because you can drive it in water, plus you can still shoot the cannon. I should also mention that this does get to drop proximity mines, which is another benefit for this vehicle. So overall, the APC has great protection and it has amazing offensive capabilities. In 3rd place, we have a vehicle that literally everybody knows about, the Oppressor Mark II. Now, previously, this would have been probably in 1st place on the list, but Rockstar ended up nerfing the Oppressor's missiles, which made them kind of like the Sparrows, in other words, pretty trash, and as well, they nerfed the flare capabilities, making the Oppressor much harder to dodge missiles with. Those definitely take away from offensive capabilities, but that's not to say that this is a bad vehicle at all. I mean, it's still in 3rd place on our list. It's an amazing vehicle from getting from point A to point B, judging that it does have the highest top speed out of every vehicle in this list at 130 miles per hour. It also carries a speed boost whenever you're braking the vehicle, meaning that whenever you take it off, you get that little launch in the air, which is great if somebody's trying to blow you up and shoot missiles. I'd say honestly the biggest reason why I put it in third place is down to the fact that you have to wait 5 minutes to call it in once it gets blown up, which makes it actually kind of useless in a lot of situations. Overall, the Oppressor Mark II is still an amazing and fantastic vehicle. I just don't see it better as the next vehicle on our list. And that brings us to the Deluxo. Now, previously, the Deluxo would have been behind the Oppressor, but now that the Deluxo still carries the amazingly stupid missiles that will hit literally anything, and the Oppressor doesn't, that is why the Deluxo is in second place. The Deluxo is a flying vehicle. Now, it's not very fast. It only flies at like 90 miles per hour, but it does have amazing missiles, and that's really all that makes it such a strong offensive vehicle. I should also point out that the Deluxo is pretty dang fast, having a top speed of around 127 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest sports classics in the game. It's actually pretty viable for getting from point A to point B. It's weird that you can actually drive faster than the vehicle can fly. The Deluxo can also reverse while flying in hover mode very easily, unlike the Oppressor Mark II. And my favorite part is you can drop it out of the sky instantly no matter how high you are, making it very quick at dodging missiles that are fired at you. Overall, I think the Deluxo is just an amazing vehicle, and the fact that you can store it right in your garage and it comes with missiles equipped. It costs like 100 grand. You just go to the Los Santos Customs and attach them instead of needing bunker research like a lot of the other vehicles. Definitely an amazing vehicle to buy. And finally, that brings us to first place being the Toreador. Now, the Toreador cannot fly like the Oppressor Mark II or the Deluxo, but it does have a couple advantages over these two vehicles. First of all, it has the amazing missiles, just like the Deluxo, so that's already a pretty big advantage over the Oppressor Mark II. But the biggest advantage is the fact that this vehicle not only has unlimited missiles, which is something that the Oppressor wishes it had, but as well, it can survive up to 6 homing rockets. That is absolutely insane, which means that it's just an absolute tank. This vehicle can almost survive as many missiles, to be fair, as the tank. So not only do you have unlimited BS missiles that can fly everywhere, instantly nuking people out of the sky, but you can survive an additional 6 missiles that are being fired back at you. Plus, this vehicle has a super speed boost, giving you a top speed up to 135 miles per hour. And the Toreador can also go in water and use a super speed boost. Now, unfortunately, mine did blow up, as you can see, but that's because I hit the ground like 5 times with the missiles. Overall, the Toreador is a #1 must-buy. It's just an amazing vehicle. At the end of the day, this is all down to personal preference, and these are my top 5 vehicles that I would use in any offensive capabilities when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. Hopefully, you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like this in the future, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, as it helps out the channel a crazy amount. Let me know if I missed out any vehicles that you think should have been in the list that I just didn't put in there. There could have been something I just didn't think of, as there are so many weaponized vehicles at this point in GTA Online. But either way, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.